and I can tell you that it's got a lot of good stuff. So I think we'll all learn something. And with that, Drew, I'm going to turn it over to you. And like I said, if you guys want to raise your hand or chat, please do so, and I'll help Drew get those questions.
Well, great, Justin. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And you just got us, you know, I've been a long time, well, I don't know about long time compared to some of you folks that are on this list, but I've been a member of OfficeKey for quite a while now. And I always take people on tours because I'm just so impressed with the facilities and the people and just how it all works. And just listen to the longevity of not just the staff, but the quality staff. I know because I work with these people, the quality level of the staff and the longevity there. It just says a lot about the organization. So I'm always happy to support the OfficeKey effort. And I'm excited about sharing this information. So let's see if I can share my screen here. Let's see, it says host is disabled. So I have to be switched over to the host so I can share the screen. So the title of this presentation is Drown, Swim, or Surf, a Pandemic Marketing Perspective. And what this is the culmination of a lot of discussions, a lot of meetings, a lot of confidential meetings, and observations that I've had over the last 3 months that help us position ourselves for the future. All right, so let's dive into the presentation. I am still not able to share the presentation yet. So Asia, can you make me the host?
Make him the host. If you make him the host, you may need to keep an eye on if someone else tries to join. You may need to admit them, but hopefully Aisha can still do that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Super. All right, so there we are. One of my favorite graphics, I have to say, that we've created here. Drown, Swim, or Surf, a Pandemic Marketing Perspective. So so first off, let's just see if you've experienced any of these kinds of issues. This big wave came and hit us called COVID-19, and a lot of people were caught, like this fella, just smack-faced by this wave. It just, boom, nobody saw it coming, nobody expected it, and it hit us in the face. It was painful. I remember the moment I knew we were into something big. It was when I heard the NBA season got canceled. That was my smack in the face moment. Uh-oh, it's hit the fan. I don't really get what this thing is. So everybody's had their moment when they went from, yeah, okay, this is just another, quote, crisis, to, nope, this is a crisis. This is big and this is important. Now, a lot of people have experienced that. But also, I have clients that are experiencing an incredible surge in business, and they are surfing through it. I have one client who manufactures hand sanitizer, and they are swamped. They have added shifts, and so some folks are just surfing through this whole thing. And what I found is the reality is most people are this guy, where there's a bit of a free fall going on. The wave came along, it hit us. We're not sure what's going on, and we're trying to orient ourselves to what this new kind of world looks like. And so when it comes to orientation, that's when we have to understand what's going on in the marketplace. So ultimately, we all find ourselves between the guy that's having the wave smack him in the face and surfing. Now, I think we all would prefer to be surfing through this pandemic more than getting smacked in the face. I think we could probably all agree with that. So how do we get to that surfing point? And that's not always, that surfing can be defined as a lot of different things. It's not just necessarily my product is now in high demand. It can be I'm surfing to a new position. I'm using this time to pivot someplace. So what I have found is the best way to get a sense of orientation on your marketing is to go back to my basic principle, which is the marketing flywheel. If you've heard me speak before, every time I speak, I reference the marketing flywheel. And the whole concept of the flywheel is to simplify marketing. I have found that in today's world, it is really easy to make marketing complicated. So in an effort to simplify it, the first thing we do is say, okay, understand what your brand is. Doesn't mean you have to go do some big retreat and all that stuff. You have a brand. You should understand what your brand is, who you are, what you're about, why it's important that you're even here. That all plays into brand. And then you have a tribe. The tribe are the people who love what you do. It starts with your employees, frankly. And OfficeKey is a great example of you don't have quality people hanging around for decades if they don't believe in what you're doing. And so that's a good tribe. But then they're able to share their experience with the customers that come through OfficeKey. And there's people, and Justin, I'm sure that if I was to say you have tribe members, the difference between a customer and a tribe member is a tribe member loves what you guys do. A customer just buys your stuff. Now, we all want customers, but really, we want tribe members. Would that be fair, Justin? Can you distinguish that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have some tribe members here on this call.
You bet, absolutely. I consider myself a tribe member.
Yes.
And so that's the second stop on the flywheel. And you have to understand why people love what you do, because there are prospects in the marketplace that will love what you do, what you deliver, your experience. They just don't know you yet. So there are things that you can learn from the people who are currently in your tribe to get introduced to the people that aren't in your tribe left that will like what you do, love what you do. And then there's your deliverable. There are two types of deliverable. There's your deliverable, there's what you do, and then there's the true deliverable. And the best way that I can explain this is with the analogy of being at the hardware store. You're in the tool aisle and you see a woman there that's looking at drills. So she's looking, and this is important here. She's looking at this drill, right? And here's the question. Does she really want a drill, or does she want a hole? Think about that. If you don't want a hole, she's not looking at drills. So the important thing to note that our deliverable is the drill. That's what we do. That's our service. You're a financial planner. You're crunching numbers for customers. You guys are providing a space. But the true deliverable is often the outcome of the drill. The true deliverable is, say, financial peace, or a great customer experience, or because I'm a member of OfficeKey, my brand got significantly upgraded from meeting in Panera. So that was the true deliverable. The challenge here with the deliverable, for those of us who create deliverables, is we love our drills. We just think they're awesome. This is a cool drill, man. Do you see all these new things I put in it? It comes in 8 different colors. This is an awesome drill. And sometimes we spend too much time talking about the drill and not enough time talking about the whole. And a good message has a balance between those two, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So that is tribe and the deliverable. Very important that you know the difference between your deliverable and your true deliverable, because that will come out later. And then there's your strategy. Now when you look at strategy, there's lead generation, prospect conversion, customer re-engagement. 3 different strategies. Most people don't understand them, but those are 3 different strategies: lead gen, prospect conversion, customer re-engagement. Then there's your message. The message that you take to the marketplace is a key component of the marketing flywheel. And it's a combination of what engages that tribe about your true deliverable and moves them along a strategy. That's what a message should do. Do you have a compelling message? And then, and oops, somebody wants to get admitted. We're going to admit them. Let me back up. Oops, back up. Hold up. I did the admittance thing, and now I got to back up one.
There we go.
There we go, right here. And now, so then the final step is connections. Now, connections are how we deliver that message in the marketplace. That's all it is. And here's the sad state of affairs today. I would say that 95% of business owners and marketers' time is spent on connections. And only 5% is spent on the rest of this stuff, which is critically important, and we ignore it. So that's one of the challenges we have in marketing, and that's why I created this marketing flywheel to help simplify it. Now, of course, all these things spin around accomplishing some kind of goal. So now, with that as the groundwork, let's move into the reopening mode. What can we learn from the flywheel as we move into this current pandemic? First off, what's your goal? You know, I mean, everybody's going to have a little bit different goal here. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Sorry. I'm having to click on the screen here, and it's causing my things to move along. So, all right, here we go. So what are you trying to achieve with your marketing effort? Right now in pandemic mode, what I've observed is that there are folks that are simply trying to survive. That's it. They're not trying to do a whole lot more than that. They're just trying to survive. Another category is they're just trying to get through this time and get back to what they think is going to be normal business. They're thinking things are not going to dramatically change for them in the future. You know, people are still going to want to eat food or whatever, but you know, they just want to get back to what they would call normal. And then the third category is there are businesses, their goal is to pivot. It's one of the things that I'm doing with my business is I'm taking this time to pivot my business and make key changes to it. So some are looking to survive, some are looking to get back to normal, and some are looking to pivot. And so it's very helpful as we go through this that you know what your goal is and which category you fit when it comes time to make these kinds of decisions. So that's first with goal. The next question that you have to ask yourself is on your brand. In this phase, your brand, your core values, your beliefs, they really shouldn't be changing. Even for me, pivoting doesn't change my brand. You do not need to rebrand at this time. This is not a good time to rebrand. Good time to pivot, not a good time to rebrand. So just to be clear, it's not a great time to do that unless you are sorely behind the times on your brand and who you are, and you need to update that. But here's the kicker. The tribe. As we move to the tribe on this flywheel, the question you have to ask is, what has changed? And there has been tremendous change with your tribe. So the first thing is who they are. Has your tribe changed? The who of your tribe? Are there suddenly, because of all this going on in the marketplace and what you deliver, is there suddenly a new market that you can go after? Maybe you've traditionally gone after a certain market, and because of some changes in how you're already positioned, can you go after a new market? Who they are, has that changed at all? Then you have the issue of where they are. Quarantined for the last 6 months. Where are they? Well, they're just not around. That's why you don't see Starbucks. Starbucks went through a lot of closings. One, because people weren't going to work and they were just at home. And so their usual routine to drive through Starbucks had gotten disrupted. Now, there was also another issue with Starbucks, which is always interesting, is first, they couldn't get anybody to work. They were having issues nationally about having people come in serving, so with the employees. So they were having difficulty staffing. So then they did an increase in pay, kind of hazard pay for working for COVID. And all of a sudden, everybody wanted to work. And it was going to cost them more to stay open. And they finally said, never mind, we're just going to only be open in selected locations. Now, here's the interesting dynamic. I have a client, Big B, actually more of a colleague, Big B Coffee out in the Loveland area. And there's a Starbucks right around the corner from them, which is closed. And the Big B has been, because of where the customers are, there was still demand for Starbucks, but not enough to keep a Starbucks open. Big B gladly got first-time experiences by serving those Starbucks customers. And ideally, they'll stick. Who knows? Some will, some won't. But it was a great opportunity because suddenly there were new prospects. The who changed and the where changed. They were coming from a different location. So that was a great opportunity for them. Now, another question you have to ask yourself on your tribe: what they want. How has that changed? What they want. Now, when this COVID stuff first occurred, what changed with customers was that they wanted availability. That's what people wanted. Because so much had closed down. I'm not tied to my brand. Whatever my it is. This happened in a very subtle way for me when I was at Kroger. I was doing some shopping. I picked up a can of green. Yes, I do the grocery shopping. Just going on record for that. I do the cooking too. Hey, empty nest. I'm a better cook than my wife, and she admits it. But I was at Kroger and I picked up a can of green beans because we needed green beans, and it was some off-brand. But it was the only brand on the shelf. It was available. A very simple example, but I thought no problem. I bought 4 cans because we needed green beans, and it was better to have an off-brand than it was, or not even an off-brand, just not my usual brand. And it was better to have than to have not. So availability was the first thing. That was one of the things that changed what the market wanted. But now what we're moving toward is people, what they want is to feel safe. Not everybody, and we're going to talk about how the tribe's range is on how they're dealing with COVID. But in general, people want to feel safe. And you never go wrong by skewing toward the safety of a customer. People will complain a little bit if they think it's way overdone, but in general, that's not necessarily a bad thing for your brand. Just like all the things that you've implemented at OfficeKey. Do I think all of them were necessary? No. Do I think some of them are excellent? Absolutely. I love the idea that Jackie told me this, that door is shut. That means I've wiped down that conference room since the last person was in there. Thank you very much. That is helpful information. So it's always better to skew toward more safety. But that's one of the things that's changed with customers is it safe? So back onto the PowerPoint. Our next point is, how do they want it? That's another question. How does the customer want things? And I don't know that this has gotten response yet, but I've seen businesses do this now, is they want touchless, contactless. I hear, Papa John's Pizza has this whole new spot out now that says, from the time your pizza comes out of our 450-degree oven and it goes into the box and delivered to your door, nobody's touched it. Now, I don't exactly know how they do all that, but that's what they're claiming. So is that what the market wants? I don't know. Honestly, in this area, I don't know that the market knows what they want, But that's how people are responding, is this touchless delivery. And of course, we're doing a heck of a lot of Zoom meetings because we can't meet anymore. Now, some of you might know that I operate marketing-focused roundtables, and we meet at OfficeKey, except not this month. We did a Zoom meeting. And at the end of each of these meetings, I asked all of the members of the roundtable, I said, hey, you know, I made the call to do this meeting on a Zoom, but if I would have said, let's meet in person at OfficeKey and we do social distancing because the rooms are big enough, you know, would anybody had any kind of objection at all about meeting in person? It was 100% unanimous. No one would have had any concerns about meeting in person. Now, that's not universal. I'm just saying that's this group of people, two groups of people that I work with, on how they want things, and they would have been fine with that. But they were fine meeting on a Zoom as well. So the other thing is when they want it. It's the timing issue. You know, so many things now are delivery, and as we've said, Zoom. And so things that in some ways have gotten tighter with these Zoom meetings. You know, or instead of going out and meeting people, you can meet more people on Zoom over a period of time than you can going around to meetings. And in other things, it's gotten looser. It's like, fine, I'll just get it delivered sometime next week, and I'm okay with that. So when they want it is changed. So you have to apply this to your market, on when your market wants whatever it is they want. And then finally, how they think during the crisis. This is all overlapping stuff. This is all also emotionally driven. A lot of it has changed, and there's constantly changing priorities through this crisis. All of that has to do right here with Tribe. And this is step one, this is step two. So the point I'm trying to make here is you need to have answers to these questions before you move on to try to make any changes about your deliverable, your strategy, your message, or your connections. Everything moving forward here is completely influenced by your tribe. So if you've not talked to your tribe, if you haven't surveyed them, if you haven't engaged with them, and just do some one-on-one conversations with them before you make these decisions, you're taking on a fairly high risk. And you know, it's important that you understand that. Now, this is the moving target of the tribe. Now, we've already said the tribe is a moving target of needs, wants, and desires. The tribe will choose availability over brand, and the tribe now with reopening will choose safety over brand. Here's what's coming next. Here's my prediction, is the tribe will choose efficiency over brand. A great example of that is the other day I was at Chick-fil-A, and I got my mask on. I'm talking to a lady behind plexiglass. She's got her mask on. She's trying to take my order. She asks me a question. And I'm like, and we're just having this mumbled discussion back and forth. Finally, she pulls the mask to the side, leans around the plexiglass. Did you want ketchup with that? Like, sure. And so, and I don't know if that has more to do with my hearing or her, all those things that are in the way to communication. But here's the point. All this safety stuff, which is good, gets in the way of efficiency. And that will take its toll. So you have to think through efficiency. We were at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Actually, I should say we called in and ordered from Buffalo Wings and Rings. And we didn't know how the pickup was going to go. We pull in the parking lot. There's a big banner out front. It says, text your name and the name on your order and the parking spot you're in, and we'll bring you your food. And text to this number. So we look up, and sure enough, we're in parking spot 14. We didn't even notice. They're well-marked parking spots. We text the number, and in about 2 minutes, Matt comes out with our food, and we pay for it with a credit card at the window. Okay, great. It was easy. I was pleasantly surprised with how efficient it all was. A week later, we ordered from Old Spaghetti Factory. What a disaster that was in the parking lot. I've had computer problems, and I like to take my computer. I bought that computer at the Microsoft store at Kenwood Town Center, and I had some issues, and that store's not open. And there's a sign on the window there at the Microsoft Center store when I first went there, and it said, due to COVID-19, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. So reopening's coming. I'm checking the website. No update from the Microsoft store about when that store is going to open. That's where I go for customer service. And they said, well, you can call this number. And it's like, I've done all of that work. I want to talk to somebody. I want somebody to see this machine. And I want them to tell me that after 2.5 years, it's acceptable what it's doing now, right? I'm frustrated. Reopening happens. Kenwood Town Center happens. Microsoft store is not open. Still not open. No message about when they might be open. No communication whatsoever from the Microsoft store in Kenwood. Worst kind of inefficiency there is. So you just run into, you see how different businesses are handling. So if you can make people feel safe and be efficient at the same time, that's the challenge as we move ahead. So now, here are some parting thoughts. We just said about tribe. Wants, availability, safety, and efficiency. Here's another one. Remember the drill in the hole? Your drill may stay the same, but your customer's hole, the true deliverable, may have changed. As an example, if I want to meet with you, say you're a financial planner. If I want to meet with you, I need to feel safe meeting with you. If, I need to feel safe coming into OfficeKey. So realize that your drill, you still might be delivering the same kind of drill, but the hole may have changed. Here's another tip. On your strategy, you might shift from your promotional emphasis to an entry point selection rather than a premium option. So many times we lead with a premium option and then we back off to other options. So in this market with people's unemployment and where things are, there may be some benefit to shifting your lead or your point of entry to be a more cost-effective one, especially when we're not trying to maximize revenue now. We're just trying to create revenue, right? That's the challenge a lot of people are experiencing at the current time. So another thing to remember is a short-term win is not a long-term plan. It's good to have a short-term win. Short-term win might be survival this month. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. And you need to have full focus on that. But that's not a long-term plan. And short-term will get you to a point where you might have to move into the pivot mode. Know what mode you're in. Are you in short-term? Are you just trying to get back to some sense of normal? Or are you pivoting? Because those are three different perspectives that are very important. And here's one final one. On the message, the market is growing tired of empathetic feel-good spots. They want core information. I have one of the new things that I launched during COVID has been what I call three insights in about 3 minutes. These are 3-minute video episodes of really interesting stuff. And I'm going to be interviewing Mimi Razor from Razor Marketing here on Friday. And the reason I'm doing it is they just completed a 1,000 consumer survey from across the country about people and their perspectives. And this is the document of the white paper. And one of the points in the report is 1/3 of loyal customers experience communication fatigue via email, but most are fine with at least a monthly communication. So take that one to heart. And there's 7 other key things in this report that Razor hasn't even published that yet. So that's some new information you guys just got. So, and then the last thing I always like to do is, hey, you know, marketing's fun, should be fun. Oops, that went by too fast, sorry. The Marketunist is one of my favorite cartoon folks. Crisis communications, we've all seen this stuff. Talk about fatigue in our email. Sales pitch segues. Oh, it's a touchy-feely thing, and all of a sudden, oh, you're just pitching me. Or, you know, faux sympathy, cliches, corporate ease, and vague promises. We commit to be there for you, whatever it is you do. I always find that to be, anyway, I won't go on that. So anyway, ultimately, what does the market want? Right now, this lady just wants you to have your face mask on. Forget about your crisis communications. So that's what I've been seeing in the marketplace and what I think business leaders and marketing leaders need to deal with as we move ahead through these pandemic waters that who knows when the next wave might hit, or who knows, it might be smooth sailing from here.
Well, thank you, Drew. There's a comment here from Terry, mentioned a comment about your efficiency, and said that Amazon is strictly adhering to social distancing requirements, as a lot of companies are. Imagine if they would have implemented them 6 months ago, just for the heck of it. The new systems are definitely hindering efficiency.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and we see it too. You know, we are spending a lot more time cleaning our conference rooms than we ever did in the past, and it's taking us away from, you know, a lot of other things that we are, you know, doing, you know, to support you guys, our clients. So it's a give and take, and you got to do it, but it's a different dynamic.
Absolutely. We, you know, like many Americans during quarantine, not that I've had a lot of extra time, but we're doing a house project. We're putting in a fire pit area in our backyard, removing sod, buying stone and gravel and all this stuff. And my wife found some outdoor furniture that she wanted to get from IKEA that they have available. The website won't let us buy it for the click and pick kind of scenario. And it's like, I want to buy. I am ready to buy. I want to buy. You're not letting me buy. You're saying I can buy it, and it's not letting me do it. I actually drove by IKEA the other day when I was leaving the Westchester office just to see if this click thing was available. And sure enough, it is. And there's cars kind of parked, but then other cars meandering. And there's probably 30 cars in the lot with people in them. And I see 2 people pushing carts, not too fast, of stuff out to a car. And I'm thinking, boy, that looks inefficient.
Right. Well, I think it's interesting. The big corporations, the big national, multinational corporations I've noticed, are being a lot more careful than smaller local companies because they have to. They have more constituents, I guess, or more protocols. A lot of the, you know, like a lot of our clients, some of them are based in New York City. So they're not even close to coming back to an office, and they kind of send that message down the line. Whereas us local people, we're here in Cincinnati, and we can make decisions based on where we're at. So it's interesting. Here's a question. Go ahead, Drew. I was gonna say, a question from Perry. As far as marketing goes, how do we convince clients that it's once again safe to come into our office? Person to person is much more effective for our business. Sounds like a question for both of us, Drew. Sure.
And usually, number one, you don't convince the customer. So what it often takes is another customer. So I would suggest you get a testimonial from a current OfficeKey member saying, hey, here's been my experience as I've come into OfficeKey and had meetings or done these different things. Here's what's made me feel safe. And have it from somebody else as a customer to customer talking about that, as opposed to, Justin or one of the upfront representatives. I would do that route. Does that help?
To add to that too is even before the pandemic, a lot of people, especially new clients or new prospects that are considering our service, I always tell them if they're considering an office and maybe they've worked from home or whatever, it's about having options. It's, you don't have to come to my office. I can go to your office. We can meet at Starbucks. I can come to your home, whatever you're comfortable with, but having an option, a professional office option is has a lot of value. For those people that are working out of home, this is kind of irrelevant to the specifics of the nature of the question as far as safety. But, I always tell people if your options are, we can come to your office or we can meet somewhere, like a Panera, you're kind of putting it on them. Whereas as opposed to having an office to offer. So it's kind of somewhat related to that, but.
Well, one of the things that I've found in working with my customers and prospects, especially prospects, because customers get the gist of it, is when I'll ask them, where are you located? I have offices in Westchester, Hyde Park, Blue Ash, and downtown. How do you have so many offices? It's great. I mean, it's great that's an asset that supports the brand. And I've had clients, actually, Justin, I think, was it Shelley in the roundtable the other day mentioned that the first time she had come to OfficeKey, she thought the whole place was mine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. And so it looks like, Diane, you had a question. What are the guidelines in terms of numbers of people that may be in your training rooms? We have changed we've adjusted the capacity of each room. So our max capacity room, which was our training room, which was 20 to 30-ish, is now 10. We've had a lot of discussions, and I'll give you guys the inside scoop for those of you guys on the call that we're doing everything we can to keep everything safe and stack the deck so that when people come in here, they can come into an office and be perfectly socially distanced, and be careful and safe and have all the cleaning stuff done and the sanitizer and all that stuff and the signage. With that said, once you go in a room, we're not in there with you. There could be 10 people perfectly socially distant. There could be 2 people that are right next to each other, breathing in each other's face. So at a certain point, it comes down to personal responsibility. And, we have that 10-person capacity in place to comply with the government. If some group came in and there was an extra person there needing an extra chair, are we going to kick that person out or say you have to pick the 2 people that have to leave? Probably not. But we have the protocols in place to set it up so that it's safe. And we find that most people are operating, respectfully. And that's really what it comes down to.
And one of the things that I found, and this kind of goes back to the tribe segment and what the tribe wants. I have a sister that lives in Manhattan, and she's in her 70s. Her significant other is in his 80s, and they are, not in great health. So they are spraying the bottoms of their shoes when they come in from the streets of New York. They are, it's cloistered. I've got an 89-year-old mother. Everybody's got this story of people that they know. And it seems like there's this range of people's perspectives, which is, this is either the zombie apocalypse or I really don't give a rip, and everybody's somewhere on that scale. And some of it varies much of it varies by individual, but it also varies by region. The Midwest is a little bit more leaning toward I'm not as worried about that. East Coast, where there's a dense population, they're way more skewed toward zombie apocalypse. And I don't mean that to diminish concern about COVID at all. I'm just saying as far as how far they go with it. So I think what we're moving into is a time where businesses set the table and then people choose that tier to which they feel most comfortable. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, we have friends who are lean toward the zombie apocalypse side, and that's fine. I have no problem with it. We just are extra careful when I made a mistake the other night, last night when we were out for a walk and I saw him and I walked up to his window and he rolled up the window right away. I was like, oh, geez, I forgot. I'm sorry. And it just wasn't even on my mind because we hadn't seen him in a while. But there's, you know, so that level of sensitivity varies tremendously, and you just can't tell by looking at people where they are on it.
Right. And I think that, you know, we've obviously had a lot of discussions about masks, as everyone has, and there's a lot of different opinions. And I think what we, you know, as a staff have talked about is it's, you know, err on the side of safety, like you talked about, Drew. But it's not like this is a taboo subject. You know, it just talk about it. You know, one, it's pretty, you can, you know, if someone has a mask, then, you know, one, we should start with having a mask, but a lot of it's reciprocational. It's respect. It's, you know, we don't have to agree, but as long as you're respecting my space and my personal opinions about it, yeah, there's no reason we can't navigate this world together, you know?
Right. Yep. You bet. Meet them where they're at.
Yeah, exactly.
Drew, it kind of strikes me that companies need to, you know, when you say survey your tribe, I think companies right now need to look at their online relationship with their customers. You think of how we interface with Kroger now. You know, I had never previously thought about going online and selecting the items that I want at Kroger. And even last night we ordered a pizza from La Rosa's, and that was the way to do it, you know, go online and select it. And certainly we look at how banks have evolved, and now we're talking to people face to face through our screens. So I really think that all businesses need to think about how they come across online to people. And I know we want them to get them in to meet personally, and we want a handshake, but there's been a tremendous learning curve in how to do things via your computer.
And that's going, you're absolutely right, Dave. And one of the interesting ripple effects is what it's done is it's forced the hand of the market. So it's driven people to do things remotely, like you said with Kroger. But it's also, for example, my wife, she's an accountant for Scroggins Greer, and you know, she's been working from home. Now, she was already set up to do that just for the occasional day every once in a while. And now she's working 5 days a week from home. And she said, you know, when this whole thing gets back to normal, whatever that is, she said, she enjoys working from home. I'd like to work from home 3 days a week and go in the office 2 days a week. And then during busy season, flip that, go in the office 3 days a week, work from home 2 days a week. And so that's on the employee side, you're on the customer side. Well, just imagine let's say Scroggins Greer, which with 100 employees in this big building, maybe I don't need all this square footage. I bet you we're going to see a ripple effect in the commercial real estate business, that people don't need as much, these businesses don't need as much office space, and they may move to more of a system like yours, where we have a bullpen and it's a revolving door of people on a daily basis. Of course, that would all have to be sanitized and everything, but there's going to be a ripple effect. It's really hard to predict where all those ripple effects are going to go with this, as we just, it's an amazing time. It really is an amazing time these days.
Good deal. Well, we're almost out of time, so let's go ahead and, unless anybody else has any last questions, thank you for joining us. It was a good discussion. Thank you, Drew. A lot of good stuff there. Go ahead.
I had one last thing to say,
please.
just FYI.
Please.
Website is marketingaccelerator.com. I wrote the book, You Can't Lead What You Don't Understand, which is available on my website and explains in much more detail about the marketing flywheel, if you like that concept. And I also produce a blog about Super Bowl commercials, but we also send all the latest episodes of 3, my new video series. We notify all of our blog subscribers. So you can subscribe to my blog on the website if you want to stay in contact that way. Just wanted to mention those.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you. For
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the link's there. So if anybody wants to click on that. Again, thanks for joining us. Reach out to Drew if you want to talk more about this stuff. I'm sure he'd be happy to help you. And we'll look forward to seeing. It's good to see you guys' faces. It's nice to even though we're not in person, shaking hands and enjoying a meal together. It's nice to see some faces other than those we share a household with. And hopefully, as these weeks go on, we'll have more in-person contact. And then next month, Erica will be our speaker, and we'll send out a notification about that. Hopefully, you guys can join us for that. And again, thanks for the time, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right. Goodbye.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you guys. Good to
See
see
you guys.
y'all.
Bye. Good to see you.
Bye. Thanks, Erica.